Hi, my name is Abe, and in this video I'm going to show you how to install and use the smart Wi-Fi doorbell made by YYGIFT. Here is the box that the doorbell comes in. If you open it up, inside is the doorbell. It's pretty compact. You can see it fits in about a palm. On the bottom over here is the button to ring it, and up here is the camera. Over here and over here are going to be 4 infrared lights in order to enable the camera to see at night for the night vision. This black line over here is the power input. It needs 12 volts of AC or DC power, or you can even use 12 to 24 volts, and you should use approximately 1.5 amps of power. This cable over here is RJ45. In case you don't want to use a Wi-Fi cable, you can plug it in using RJ45. And this is the relay connection. If you want to control an electronic lock, then you'll connect the wires to that to be able to unlock and lock your door. Also in the box are some mounting screws. This is the connection for the relay. It'll plug into here, and then you'll plug your wires there. This is the RJ45 jack. You would connect this to your RJ45 over here, and then plug the actual phone line. You would plug the actual phone line over here. This is for your 12 volts of power. So depending on what kind of connection you have, if you already have a doorbell there, then you should have 12 volts of power coming to your door. Then you would just take this, plug it in over there, and then you connect these 2 wires, the black and the red wire, to your existing doorbell wires. And then you would take this metal bracket, you would put these 2 screws mounted on the door, and then over here, if you see on the back, it'll just sit in over here and over here, and that'll hold it. There's another small screw in here that you would take and screw in the bottom over here. It's kind of hard to see, and that'll prevent someone from just walking off with your doorbell. This is the doorbell, which flashes and has different tones. This is just one of the example tones. There's 2 buttons here, one to change the volume and one to change the tone. When you ring this doorbell through RF transmission, it'll also ring this this bell, which uses 2 AA batteries in here, and it's got a small hole over here that you can just put a screw in the wall and mount this anywhere you want. It's battery operated, so you can really throw it anywhere you want in the house as long as it's not too far. And the package also comes with a small screwdriver, which you use for the bottom here to lock that small screw in. So there's one other connector over here. That's basically what comes in the package. For my installation, I am going to do it on this door over here. This is an aluminum door. Oh, sorry, it's not focusing. This is an aluminum door, which already has a peephole, which I want to leave. So when someone's by the door, I can look through the peephole also. But what I'm hoping to do is to install it underneath it. over here underneath the door. The reason why I chose this spot is when a visitor comes, it's got a perfect straight view of the person. The reason why I didn't install it on the side like a standard installation is because, number one, I don't have a doorbell, and therefore I don't have wires here ready. And even if I did, this is a tiny spot. It's only about 1 inch wide, which is not wide enough to hold my doorbell. And if I put it all the way over here on the brick, it's only got a 135-degree viewing angle, and if you're standing by the front door knocking, it's not actually going to capture you. It'll capture you walking up to the door, but it won't actually capture you knocking on the door. So what my plan is, I plan on drilling a hole about over here. I'm going to run wires through this door. It's an aluminum door with insulation in the middle, so it's basically styrofoam, so it's pretty easy to run the wires. And actually I'll probably go straight up here to the door, to where the window is, since I could remove the window on the inside of the door, and it'll be easier to drill a straight line down and then do a straight line here. And then on the inside of the door, I'm going to use this flexible conduit you can get by an alarm supply store or any place which sells low voltage supplies. You might even be able to get by a local hardware supply store like a Home Depot or a Lowe's, or you could probably get it on Amazon. It comes in a roll usually, pretty long, or you could buy a kit specifically for a door. I just went to an alarm supply store and asked them for, you know, a 1.5 foot part. I'll probably cut it down to size once I'm closer to that step. These are 2 brackets which you screw into the door and the wall. You use this when you're running wires from a door to a wall. It would basically go like that. It's kind of hard to see, but you would put it there. You'll see later when I get to that step. But you would run the wire through the door, then through here, in order that the wire doesn't get ruined by the opening and closing of the door. You basically fish the wire through here. The wire you need, either you're going to use the existing built-in wiring, or you need to get an adapter similar to this one. This one's an AC adapter. It has an output of 12 volts and 1.5 amps. Hope you can see that. With a connector over here, which will, if you're not using the doorbell wiring, you would just disconnect this and plug the adapter straight into here. So depending on your setup, you might just get an adapter, plug it in, mount this on the wall, or you might just disconnect this and just connect it straight to your doorbell wiring. I am planning, and hopefully will be successful in doing a much more complicated setup, in mounting it directly on the door itself. This way I can get a straight view of any visitors, and at the same time I could also watch anyone coming up my path and the street, so I could have a video recording of anything going on there. And the camera has motion alerts, so I can set it up at night to warn me if anyone's, or during the day, anytime, if anyone's coming up my path. I can alert before they even ring the bell. It works as an IP camera also, so if you have other IP cameras that you have networked in your house, and you know how to record those, you could run a DVR type of thing and actually record this camera. That's a totally separate setup, but it works as an IP camera, so you can do that also. So I'm going to start by removing my window and start fishing the wire through the door in order to get onto that. Right before I do that, I'm going to tell you, the wire you need is going to be, if you go to a hardware supply store and you want to run wires yourself, you can just ask them for doorbell or a security wire. They should know what it is. If not, just ask them for 18.2 or 22. That should be enough to hold 1.5 amps at low voltage. Or what I actually took is 18.4. 18 is the gauge of how thick the wire is, and 4 is the amount of wires in here. It's hard to see, but there should be about 4 wires in here. The reason why I took a wire with 4 wires is because I need 2 to power the doorbell, and then I need another 2 if I want to connect the relay to be able to unlock to connect an electronic lock to the door. Right now I don't have electronic locks, so I'm not going to be installing that in this video, but I'm going to be running the wires. Therefore, in the future, if I decide to have an electronic lock, everything will be set up, and then I can just open up that wiring and pull apart 2 of these wires and connect it to my lock in order to do it. In the future, since I already have door lock that I have here, and I want to keep that door lock, I'm hoping to possibly put on an electronic door strike. If I can find one compatible with the system, I have to do more research, and this way I could leave the lock intact and have that additional option of unlocking the door through the phone. And that's that. I'm gonna start, and we shall continue soon. Hi, so the next step on my project was I removed the screws from here. It's a little dark, it's hard to see. So I removed all the screws from the edge around the door frame, and then I pulled it off. Over here, it's hard to see, but there's about a centimeter worth of styrofoam around here, and then you got the glass. You can get professional tools to fish wiring, but honestly it's not necessary. Since it's styrofoam, it's pretty easy to fish. You can use a hanger, or I just took a metal skewer from barbecuing and just took it here, stuck it into styrofoam, went across, and just spun around a little. This way I now have a hole that I could fish my wiring through this hole to about over here. I'm going to drill a hole here in order that I could run the wire from inside the door to the door frame. So after I made that hole, I took a drill, put it up here, and made a hole in order to catch the wire on the other end. I started off with a small hole, a small bit, and gradually got larger in order that I can make a nice clean round hole. Make sure you use a metal bit if you're going into a metal door. If it's, let me just show you where it is. I made a small mistake. I went a little too close to the edge over here, and therefore I hit wood on the other side, and I had to make my hole a little bit wider in order to actually hit the hollow part of the door where the styrofoam is. So I just recommend going a little further in when you make your hole. The next step is going to be using these parts to put this wire through this metal. I'm going to probably cut it a little shorter. I'm going to have to get a hacksaw, and then I'm going to make it loop around here in order that I can run the wire around the edge of the door and into an outlet. That's one step. I'm also going to need to make a hole on the other side of the door to run the wire through that end. So I might do that first. I'll decide soon. Hi, so the next step I decided I'm going to run the wire to outside in order to power the doorbell. The thing is, you want to, before you actually run that wire and make the hole in your door, you want to find out exactly what height you want that doorbell to be. In order to be able to see what height you want, the best way to do it is actually connect the doorbell to your phone and see the live video so you could adjust it accordingly. The easiest way to do that is just to connect a DC adapter, one of these, like I showed you before, AC adapter or DC adapter, whatever, that converts down to 12 volts. Just connects over here, and this will power on. If you have an Android phone, you can just go to Google Play, the Play Store, type in Wi-Fi Doorbell, and you'll find multiple companies. The one you're looking for is the one which has, it's spelled Wi-Fi Doorbell Pro. There's actually no space between the word Wi-Fi and doorbell, which can make it a little hard to find. But just type it one word, Wi-Fi Doorbell, right here. Pro. The Pro one has added ability to unlock your door. If you're not using the unlock feature, you can use the one which just says Wi-Fi Doorbell. Either way, either one will work. The Wi-Fi Doorbell Pro will work even without the lock. Sorry. So here it is. We'll say this app allows you to remotely view your Wi-Fi doorbell. I already downloaded it. Now let me click open. This is version 3.7. By the time you use this, they might be up to another version. Right here you can see it says please click here to add a doorbell. So the doorbell, as you could read the instructions, it could create its own Wi-Fi hotspot. When you'll hold down the button. Here's the instructions I will show you. Okay, this is telling you how to install it. And then here shows you how to power on. Now here's the set up the Wi-Fi connection. So after you download the app, here it is. Here, enter settings mode. After doorbell powers on, press the doorbell button at least 5 seconds. It'll change it. It'll make the doorbell go into settings mode. That'll actually create a hotspot, and then on your phone you go into your Wi-Fi settings and connect to that hotspot. Make sure you already have the app downloaded, and then in the app you'll run the app and click add a doorbell, like we saw the option over here. You'll click here to add a doorbell, and then it'll show your name, bell ID, username, password, scan QR, or search. So I already did this once. I'm just doing it again for the video. So after connecting it to that Wi-Fi, to your doorbell's Wi-Fi, you're gonna put in the password of. You're gonna click. You're gonna go to the Wi-Fi settings in the doorbell, and you're gonna put in the username and password of your Wi-Fi, and then you'll connect to it. Since I already connected once, I'm going to skip that step and just click search, and it should find the doorbell. Since I already connected it once to my Wi-Fi, here it is. I'm going to click bell. Now it shows up here, and I'll click done. Now it shows it online. If I click that, it's gonna now show me a video of me holding the camera. Let me pull it up. Can't really see what it's videotaping. Okay, it's getting a video of my wall. Let's see if I can get an angle. Okay, so here it shows you this doorbell. Got a mute button, record, snapshot, unlock, and delay. Mute is that you don't hear the other person. Since my phone is right next to that device, it's creating an echo. When it's further away, it still has a small echo, but it's not nearly as bad. I was just showing you. If you hit record here, it will. If you hit record, it'll make a video of whoever you see on the other side of the door. If you hit snapshot, it'll take a picture of them. If you hit unlock, then it'll open up a option to unlock the door. It'll give you it'll show an option for you to type in 9-digit password, and it'll have you have to create at least a 6-digit passcode in order to unlock the door. I don't have a lock, so I can't show you that part right now. If you want to talk to the door, you press this mic button and you say, "Hello, do you hear me?" And then you'll hear the sound coming out from the camera. Right now it is not so loud. I would prefer it to be a little higher volume, but I'm sure in a future firmware update or app update you'll be able to control that. So that's the app for now. You'll hold the camera, position it to the place you want, and you'll figure out exactly where you want to drill your holes. Let me just show you how the app works. You got whitelist settings. Over here you could add multiple users. You got interface settings. You got alarm settings. This is motion detection. You could turn it on, and then if someone's coming up your path, in front of the camera, they're on the way to steal your packages, your phone will ring letting you know that someone's coming to steal your stuff, and you can just talk to them and tell them please don't. And my phone is set to timeout often, sorry about that. Lock setting, over here you create the password, the delay, and a couple other functions. And over here is equipment time settings. You set what time zone you're in, so that time will show up on the video screen when it calls you. Here's Wi-Fi settings, and I already connected to it, but it shows the name of the Wi-Fi and type of security, and when you click it you could put in the password, which I already set up. So that's how that works. Here's the main screen of the app. So while I'm here, I may as well show you the RF transmitter. It's over here. I just pressed it by mistake. Sorry about that. I'm just gonna wait for it to stop ringing. Okay, so when you press this doorbell, it rings here, and it also rings over here. It says doorbell. It takes a snapshot of the person by the door and gives you the option of answering or ignoring. If you answer, it immediately pulls up a video of the person by the door, and then you could press this and talk to them if you wanted to. And you could also press the unlock button, and here's your password thing. You can type it in, then click open and unlock your door. I don't have a lock, so I can't show that right now. But that was how to use the app, and that shows you how instantly, as soon as you press the button, it rings your phone, and that will work even if your phone is not on Wi-Fi, as long as you have internet connection, since the device is connected to the internet. At the same time, when you press that button, it connected to here, and this works through RF transmission. So I assume if you want to, you could buy more receivers and just make sure it's on the same frequency as listed in the manual, and then you'll be able to ring them all. So that's that. Over here, you got to keep in mind when you're making the holes, you got to make it wide enough for this connection over here, and this, if you want to use the relay, that box. This is the mount, so you're going to be making 2 holes in the door. So I would position it where you want and then mark these 2 holes with a pencil. Personally, I wouldn't drill these holes first. First I would drill the hole on top for the wiring. Make sure you can get all your wiring fitting through properly, and then put the 2 holes over here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go drill my hole on the other side of the door. I'm going to line it up. I started doing that. Here's 2 holes. Yeah, I put it over here. I marked 2 dots where I'm going to drill. But before drilling that, I'm going to drill the hole on top. You know, a little above there, so I could run the wires. And after I ran the wires and I successfully ran the wires down through the door, inside of the door, past my people to there, and successfully pulled my wires through and connected it and see that it's working, then I'm going to actually drill the holes and mount the doorbell in place. And I'm going to tape a tape measure first and measure between here and here to make sure that my dot that I put there is perfectly centered between here. If not, I'm going to move it over and make the other dot and drill the hole. So I'm going to go do that, and I'll be back soon. So here's the outside of the door. I drilled a hole and then threaded my wire from inside the door. I had a window, so I just dropped it down here, put it straight, and pulled it out on this end. So I'm going to be mounting the doorbell right underneath here, but first I got to do all the wire connections. As I mentioned before, I got 4 wires. If you're just doing a doorbell, you only need 2. If you want to connect it to the lock, you're going to need 4 wires. I am hoping to lock at a later time, so I'm going to run all the wires properly now, and when I got a lock at a later time, I can add that. If you're going to do the lock, you need this relay piece. It came with a terminal block. I'm personally not going to use that because that's going to take up too much space in the area I need since I'm putting it inside the door. So I'm going to use this, and then what I took was, I took an AC adapter, you know, the 12-volt AC adapter, and you know, if you remember, included in the package was a piece similar to this, but this one, this is used if you're connecting straight to the doorbell. Since I'm running wires, I need a transformer on one end, you know, that converts the 120 volts to the 12 volts, and on the other end I need something like this. So I just took a adapter and just cut it and stripped the wires like this. I'm gonna connect these 2 wires to 2 of these, and then the doorbell relay to the other 2. For the relay, it's, I don't know if you can see, there's 2 buttons here, and then there's 2 holes on top. You just push the wires in and it locks in place. If you want to pull it out, if you notice it's not stripped properly, then you can just press a button and pull it out. On the other end is this adapter piece, which just plugs into the doorbell. For these, I'm going to connect this to here. You don't want to open circuit, so I'm going to use a crimp. You could use anything similar to that. I'm going to make the connection now. I'll show you. So here I did the connection. Here's the power line. I used 2 crimps over here, connect the power, and then over here is the relay. I just push these both in. You can pull both wires, make sure it's tight. I would do the same thing on both ends of the crimp, because you wouldn't want it coming out while it's in the door, or while sticking everything back in the door. After you run all these wires, you just plug this into the doorbell. You know, it's pretty simple like that. And the relay is the same thing, you just plug it in. And then the trick is afterwards you want to take all this wiring and shove it into your hole in order that there's no wiring exposed. The reason why you want to do that is because any criminal who comes to your door, they could easily just disconnect all that wiring, you know, cut the wiring. So you want all the wiring to be behind the doorbell once it's installed, and nothing to be available for anyone to mess around with. So once I stuck all the wires into the door, what I did was I went to the other end before finishing hiding all the wires. I just connected the end of the wire and plugged into the outlet just to make sure it works. You know, I tested it. I saw that it rings, and you know, now that I know it's powered and good to go, I knew that I could securely mount everything in place. Let's double check it. Yep. Yep, it works. So now that I see it's working, and I checked it multiple times, so I'm going to disconnect the wire, take my mount, drill the holes behind here in order that I can hang this in place and lock it in place, and I'll go do that, and then I'll show you the next step. Hold on. So after you stick everything in the wall, you put the you drill 2 holes, put the bracket on, and just hang this on. Once it's hung on, there's a tiny screw which you gotta put in over here in the center and tighten it. It's kind of hard because you're screwing it upside down. They give you 2 screws because they know you might lose one, which I did, because it keeps falling. You gotta hold it carefully while you screw it in. But that's to make sure that no one could just walk off with your doorbell. See, right now it's very secure. And right now I still have in testing mode, so I have it still plugged in. So I'm gonna press it. And hello? Hi, how are you doing? Thank you. Testing 1, 2, 3. Sounds good. This time I had much less echo. I hardly had any echo. And that was even using 3G. It wasn't over Wi-Fi on my phone. So now that this is mounted, for most people that's all you need. It's ready to go. But for me, since I'm running it through the door, on the other side of the doorbell is over here. The wire comes up to over here. Here's my wire. I'm just gonna hide it along in here. Put the door frame back, and afterwards I'm gonna show you how to put this connector to connect the wire from here to here, and then run the rest. So first, I'm just going to stick this wire in, make it as tight as possible so it's not hanging out here at all, and then I'm going to close this up, and then I'm going to go on to that part. So I cut the conduit to be shorter. You can do however long you want depending on the length of the door. Then you just thread the wire through the conduit and then just keep pulling it all the way to the end of the wire to where the door is. So after putting the wire through the conduit, drill 2 holes here, put the screws in, and then you just stick the conduit in. The wire runs through here. In the molding, I drilled a hole and had it come out the other end. I opened and closed the door a couple times, make sure this was a proper length before it was able to open and close properly. Now I'm going to take the last one, put it here, put those 2 screws in. That's going to hold it like this. This way it'll look like a nice, clean, professional job. And then I'm going to take this wiring, run it along the molding, stick it in the corner, and if necessary staple it in order to completely hide it. So in conclusion, this is how the door looks after I put the window molding back in place. Here's my wire connection where it comes from the wire into the molding. Then it gets hidden on the molding. Can't really notice it. Runs down the molding. And then it gets plugged in into a wall outlet. Then here it is. On the door. There's the light. Here it is on the door. If you notice those lights, those are the infrared lights because right now it's nighttime. And everything is hooked up. When you press that, my phone rings instantly. I could slide to answer. I could talk to the person. Hello, how are you? And you hear that coming out of the camera. If I press unlock, it won't work because I don't have a camera. I didn't set up the lock. I could do mute in order to just watch the video. I could hit snapshot, get a picture of the person. I could hit record, and you notice it says recording on the top as it's taking a video of the person. If I press record again, it stops taking the video. And here's delay. Let me show you. So that's basically how it is. With my door closed, here's a outside view of where it is. Let me just show you a couple more settings on the app. Just trying to get good lighting so you can see the screen. Okay, so here it shows you the doorbell status is online. If you hit the menu button, let's go to alarm settings. Just turn alarm on. You can do motion detection. It sets the sensitivity to whatever you want, the delay. Then you could do a start time and end time to basically set it to, let's say only during the evening the alarm will be on and not during the day. And then basically the way alarm works is that if you go in front of the sensor, then it will sound that alarm on my phone. Seeing how it says alarm occurs, it takes a picture of the person and it rings me. I could answer the same as before and talk to the person with a video. This is very good as a night security camera if I want to just watch my yard, or even during the day if you want to know if anyone comes into your yard, depending on your setup. I happen to have a bunch of kids who walk in my yard during the day, they're playing, so I wouldn't use the alarm, but that's how it works. Overall, I'm very impressed with this camera, this Wi-Fi doorbell. It was relatively easy to install. Yes, it took me a few hours. That was because I did a very sophisticated installation, running wires through the inside of the door, trying to make it as professional as possible, running the wires and making them as inconspicuous as possible. If you have a regular door with a regular doorbell already pre-installed, it's really quite simple. You're talking about two wires. There's no positive and negative, so you just connect any two to the doorbell, and then the other two, and you would just like put it right here. Most houses you would have enough space here, just the way my house is built. I don't have enough space, and usually the camera will be able to catch the person right by the door because it has a 135-degree angle, viewing angle. So that's the most simple way to do it. I'd say about 95% of houses could be like that. Another 5% of the houses, you could just run the cord and plug it in. If you have easy connection between this wall and outlet, or use an extension cord. If you want to do it like I did, I'd say about maybe 5% of the people are going to want to install it this way. It's more complicated. You might need a professional if you're not very handy with electricity. But I personally, I prefer to do this method because I felt that got the best viewing angle and I got the most for my money installing the camera at this spot. If you know electricity and you don't want to use one of these adapters to plug into an outlet, if you have any power supply nearby, like a light switch or outlet, you could open it up and add a transformer. A transformer will run you probably about $10 at Home Depot or any hardware supply store. That'll convert your 120 volts to 12 volts, and that goes on the outside of an outlet box inside the wall. So that's a little more work, but it'll be more hidden, more proper installation. That's basically it. I've tried using this camera for a couple of days already. Not necessarily in the wall, but I had it plugged into an adapter, testing different environments to see if I like it, and so far I've been very impressed, and I highly recommend it. Anyone who's looking to have that sense of security and the ability to answer your your door from anywhere in the world. You could be on vacation in Hawaii while your house in New York is just sitting here. Someone comes, rings the bell, they want to see if you're home because they want to break into your property. They think you're home because you answer. You say, yeah, just leave the package by the door, I'll be down in there in 5 minutes. They think you're upstairs, really you're in another country, another state. It makes a difference. They have no clue if you're upstairs, on the other side of the door, or on the other side of the world. That's the advantage of a smart Wi-Fi doorbell. Criminals have no clue what you're doing anymore, and they have no control. You are now back in control, and this is why you should get a smart Wi-Fi doorbell, and I highly recommend this. Thank you for watching my video, and have a great day.